Okay, what books would you recommend reading to someone wanting to homeschool? This book. Okay, this is the book. All right, this is the book you start with. Okay, and then there's others that other people, wonderful pioneers and mentors of home education that have written. I know the first book I ever read about home education was called The Successful Family Handbook. The Homeschool Successful Family Handbook, by Raymond and Dorothy Moore. I became very fond of Raymond and Dorothy Moore. They have now deceased because their hearts were just completely for raising children God's way. And so their book actually was assisting me at the time, because I just gobbled it up. I was like, wow, there's this thing, it's actually called this, because in those days there wasn't such a word as that in this country. So it was a friend in America sent me that book, and I read it, and it was very, very helpful at the time, because Raymond and Dorothy were helping parents to actually do this thing, and that is teach their children at home. And so that's the first one, obviously, that will come to my mind, but that's my experience. There are so many books out that I can imagine why this question was asked, because how do you know what to pick of all the books that there are pertaining to home education? How do you know what to pick? I'd like to actually tell you not to pick anything. If you're overwhelmed with the choices, don't pick anything. Just rather go here. Spend time here and just wait. Because if you don't know and you're not sure and which one, and there's so many and it's such a maze and I don't know which one, whoa, then be careful, there's snares here. You might be tempted to get this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and you're spending all this hard-earned money that you had to try and bring in the funds, and you spend a whole lot of stuff that sits on the shelf or that you read and wasn't really that helpful. You've actually wasted the resources God gave you. That's what you did by that. So rather don't. Rather just leave it. I don't need that. If there's doubt, don't. I don't need that. If I'm not sure, I don't need it. Oh, but what if I do need it? Well, there's the worry. Okay, I'll have to pray about that. And then, do I need those? Which of those books do I need, Lord? I'm going to trust you to show me which one jumps out, if any. And it's likely none of them will jump out, because it's likely that you don't need to read any of them. And it's possible that if you did read 3 or 4 or 5, you might be overwhelmed, you might be confused, but if one jumped out, like this one arrived on my post box as Successful Handbook, and so I read it, and it was incredibly appropriate at the time. I have never read it again since. What is the fruit of your searching and seeking? If you are seeking Him and you're running to His Word and you're getting His answer, what is the fruit of that? The fruit of that is strength, encouragement, peace. And when you're running around looking at all these many, many things to read and many, many things to try and take in, and you're confused and you're stressed and you're anxious, you're doing something wrong. Because the fruit that you have is not His fruit. And so He doesn't want you to have that fruit. He wants you to be blessed. He wants you to be blessed. He wants to help you. He doesn't want you to be anxious. He's saying, I'm here to help you every single day. You rise up, He's there to help you. Rise up with Him, He's there. If your day starts going, pear-shaped, as they say, then go, oh, well, this is going to be a day that I'm going to be more dependent on God than I was yesterday. He loves that, because now He can have His way. So the test came. Did you pass it? How are you going to pass the test? Go to Him. Otherwise, fall in the snare. So I can't really recommend a book exactly as you hear about what to read. But I mean, again, there we have the Oikos website, and we've got a whole lot of parent helps. And I'll say to you, get yourself a parent help to read from time to time. I say that on the video because I'm encouraging you. I'm encouraging you to feed yourself as well. Don't empty yourself to the point where you are not equipped. So if you're not feeling equipped, and these mentors, Raymond and Dorothy Moore, that walked all the years of home education and pioneering and mentoring thousands of families, they've got some pearls, because what they have is based on the Word, and they've got that to give you. And if that's going to help you, take it and let it feed you and be strengthened from it. But please don't go onto the Oikos website and go, oh my goodness, there's 7 different parent helps to read here. I don't know which one to get. because don't get any if you don't know. And then watch some of the videos, and I'm telling you very enthusiastically about, I hope, about hints on child training. This is an amazing book. It was written 100 years ago, and I tell you, this was just such a support to us. We read it, and it's helped so many families, and I'm telling you, this wonderful book, Hints on Child Training. Click, watch, next one. Successful Handbook. Oh, if you haven't got this book, you really should have this book, okay? You might be seeing that, because I was enthusiastic when I was telling you about that book because of the effect that it had on our lives when we had that book. Please don't misread that I'm saying to you that you must get every single book that there is, because that would be wrong. In fact, I'm going to go back, Jamie, putting it on a video, and I'm going to make a video telling people, please, don't, just because I've been enthusiastic about each book, that's the one they have to have. I'm enthusiastically telling you what God did for us with that book, and how wonderful it was at that time, 20 years ago or something. And so we have it. In fact, we've got the Little House on the Prairie series, because we read them to our children 3 times through, and they were such a learning experience for us that we love them, and so they went out of print, and so we got them back in print, and we started distributing them. So when I talk about the Little House series, I'll be very excited and passionate about the Little House series, because it really impacted our lives at the time to help us to get back to simplicity. And so I will encourage people to read that aloud to their children, because if they're not doing that, reading aloud to their children, and they're running around, wearing themselves out, if that's what they're doing, well then I will encourage them to get a good read aloud series, to settle down and sit and read to their children. So that is how it is with all of the resources on the Oikos website. In fact, if we get another resource that suddenly lands on our path and it's very impacting, I'll share it. And we will put it into print, like Beautiful Girlhood. I'm sitting looking at this beautiful young lady over here. We've got a book called Beautiful Girlhood, and it's the entry from girlhood into womanhood. And it somehow came on our path, and we read that and shared it with many people, and it's been a very, very beautiful book to bring young women back to being pious and not being caught up with the things of the world, but to go back to the things of God and to have their heart set on Him and have their course set on Him. And then another one that somebody told me about recently is called A Young Woman After God's Own Heart. I've never read that book, but it just sounded beautiful to me. And I thought, well, if that comes in our path and we read it and then we'll probably make it available. Why not? So we might make more and more available to you. Now you go, oh, but there's so many, I don't know what to choose from. But you're not going to buy A Young Woman After God's Own Heart if you've got 3 sons. Right.
I've just found in my walk with the Lord, much like you use the Bible as a reference all the time, you don't read the Bible back to front every time. You live with the Word. And so a lot of my resources in my bookshelf, I don't always read those books back to front.
Yes.
Front to back. I just read a chapter, and God very much leads you to a specific chapter for a specific time.
Yes.
And when I buy a book, I don't even read it, front to back. I
That's
go to chapters.
what you need from it. That's wonderful. You see, just take what you need from it out of your library, your personal library that you collect. And I mean, I have a very extensive home library, no denying that. I have collected lots of books along the way and used them all very effectively. They've been supportive and helpful to us on our journey. But as you say, you pick and choose, and do just check with God what He wants you to have and what He needs you to have, because sometimes He's going to say to you, I want you to have nothing. I want you to depend on me. I want you to not run after the things of the world. I want you to be still and quiet and come and get rest, come to a place of rest and come to know me. That's what He might be saying to you. He might be saying, I don't want you to buy any curriculum or look at any websites or subscribe to any blogs and vlogs and things and other things. Just be still and come to me. And yes, if there's a blog there of somebody who has been able to share with you something that God leads you to, and it's supports you and helps you. I mean, that's what Oikos website does. I do all those videos to support and help you because God has taken us on this journey and He wants to use us to help you. So, yeah, there are those that can be supportive and helpful. But I certainly hope they don't replace the Lord in your day. That's the thing.